20 fighting machines. In a fearsome knockout competition, over the past 5 weeks, 5 machines have proven themselves strongest of the strong and qualified automatically for the knockout round. They'll be joined by 3 teams for the Rumble, and then by the end of the night we'll crown ourselves a champion. Who will it be? Find out next on Robot Rumble, the finale. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the finale of Robot Rumble. We are moments away from getting the runner-up Rumble off and underway. 5 robots enter, only 3 will move on to the knockout round. Before we get down to business, let's remind ourselves who is competing.
From Miami, Minotaur. From Brazil, Minotaur. From Brentwood, Brenda. From California, Tombstone. From Bodmin, Roadblock.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Good luck everyone, this is gonna be carnage. 5 machines, all in the arena at once, and only 3 will survive. As right now, Brenda ripping the front off of Roadblock, but in the background you can see Tombstone falling into the pit. Look at that, Brenda ripping the front panel off of Roadblock. But meanwhile, Tombstone, what are you doing, lads? Oh, they've driven forward and they've just driven into the pit. Tombstone are out, they're out of the competition. They are going home. And meanwhile, Roadblock spinning around at the top of your picture. There's bits of armour and pieces flying everywhere. God, this is absolute maniacal carnage. Oh, I can't keep my breath or my train of thought, but Roadblock has gone straight down the pit. They were rammed into and they sort of went skittering away up towards the pit. They lost some form of control. Meanwhile, Rotator was ripping panels off of Brenda, as was Minotaur. And then Brenda thought, oh, I'm not going to fight against you lot. I'll come and shove Roadblock down into the grave. Which means that we have our 2 machines that aren't going through. Roadblock and Tombstone are out of the competition. They are going home. Which means Minotaur, Brenda and Rotator are through. But we're not going to stop the fight just there. We are going to battle till only 1 robot remains or it goes to the judge's decision. Because if you saw the bracket in previous episodes, you saw there were specific positions for the winner, the second place team and the third place team. And whoever wins the Rumble should theoretically receive an easier fight in the next round. Right now as Rotator rips the top panel off of Minotaur. Look, in came Minotaur on the attack, ripped the defensive wedge off of Rotator. And then Rotator came straight back in with its own attack, ripping the top panel off of the Brazilian machine. Brenda staying out of trouble right now, although Rotator coming in on the attack. In comes Minotaur. All 3 machines very mobile, very active. All 3 should know that they're safe by now. But it's all about who they are going to face. The third place team, I can tell you, will be against Defending Champions Bronco in the next round. The winner will face Diotoir. As, look at that, loads of panels go flying there. In came Rotator. The top panel came off Rotator. They ripped the side panel off of Minotaur, and then they ripped the other one off. Minotaur is nude. It's a nude Minotaur. You don't get that very often in Greek mythology. But Rotator causing lots of damage. All 3 machines causing lots of damage, let's be honest. As we come down now into the right-hand corner, the machines are stuck together, and Brenda is just ramming into Rotator over and over again. That bludgeoning over the top spinning weapon. As they're all stuck together now in a deadly embrace, a deadly train of doom. They back away. Is Rotator okay though? Is Rotator immobilized? Oh no, they're alive. They're back into it. Oh, they've driven straight into the spikes though. Both machines just taking a breather in this match. It's a long while, 3 minutes, especially when there's 5 other machines in the contest. I think Rotator are immobilized. And there is a timer now for Rotator here in the top right of your screen. That is a countdown for Rotator. If they can't move by the time it hits 1, Rotator a third. Rotator finish 3rd in the Rumble. They will be going to face Bronco, I can tell you right now. Now it's between these two, and Brenda has got a bit of Minotaur's armour stuck in its spinner. Both machines being very wary, very careful now with 30 seconds left on the clock. Both machines want to make sure they put themselves in the best position to win the Rumble and get the easier fight. Oh, Minotaur's almost driven into the pit. Oh, Brenda's almost got in. Is Brenda in the pit? No, they've gotten out. Both machines skirting on the edge of doom and destruction as we're into the last 10 seconds. And both of these machines, I think, are just going to avoid each other and get to the judge's decision. What a fight. What a Rumble.
Cease.
So the judges will be deciding on who wins the Rumble. Let's look back at some of the highlights. Brenda causing damage to Roadblock. Meanwhile, Tombstone was eliminating itself in the background. Not great driving there. Brenda and Rotator teaming up, against Roadblock. Lots of damage caused from the machines. Big points there for Brenda. They knocked out Roadblock. Minotaur was having a good scrap with Rotator. Big damage there from Rotator. Of course, they finished third. They were immobilized. That'll be points against Minotaur, and here's a big moment. Damage caused from Brenda and then conceded by Minotaur against a machine that was already out. And then here comes the big moment. Brenda repeated slams of Rotator, but you could argue would help in immobilizing them. Was the killer blow landed there by Minotaur? That would be crucial. And then, of course, a little bit of pit drama at the end. Bad driving from Minotaur. Not great driving from Brenda, to be honest. Well, the judges have made a decision, and it's Minotaur who wins the runner-up Rumble. Brenda come in second with Rotator in third. Tombstone and Roadblock are heading home. It means the bracket looks like this. Royal Pain Tour on a collision course with Brenda. Duck and Bite Force we already knew was taking place, and we have two sets of rematches. Diotoir vs Minotaur is a rematch of their Group B encounter, but first, Bronco take on Rotator in a repeat of their Group A decider.
From California, Bronco.
So, just how did the defending champs get here? Well, they barely broke a sweat in their group, sweeping all competitors aside and achieving maximum points. Rotator were the only machine who challenged them, and even then, they eventually dispatched them into the pit of oblivion. The California machine is on course to retain their title, but they must watch out for complacency. That 10-0 overall record is mightily impressive, though.
From Miami, Rotator.
Rotator were new boys coming into this championship, but they've quickly established themselves as a mighty fine machine. They dispatched both Bumblebot and the Alien with ease, but came unstuck against the might of Bronco. They of course came through the runner-up Rumble, and now have a chance of revenge. Bronco shouldn't underestimate this machine, as those dual Discs of Doom are still the most powerful in the competition.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So our first quarter-final of the knockout round gets off and underway. This is a repeat of the Group A last match of the group, as already Rotator has caused massive damage to Bronco, ripping off that rear panel. And then there was a flip there, and actually all the front panels came off of Bronco there. So Bronco losing panels left and right as they flip Rotator. Rotator looking incredibly good early on here, looking like they're going to get revenge here. The champ in a little bit of trouble. It was a fantastic match when they last met. I think it was the best fight of Robot Rumble so far this year, but they've still got plenty of fights left to go, as Rotator now is spinning to a halt. Are Rotator okay? They're being counted out, and I think they're immobilized. Bronco very nearly near the pit, but I think Rotator are out.
Cease.
Well, it was a fantastic fight. There was a flip from Bronco. I think here is where Rotator broke down. They hit the wall, and I think it's some kind of problem they've had from the rumble that's resurfaced.
Okay, I'm recording.
As Bronco goes to the coup de grace.
There we go.
Out goes Rotator. Rotator suffering from mechanical issues and are unfortunately heading home. Bronco, the defending champions, move one step closer to retaining their crown. Next up, Bite Force taking on Duck.
From California, Bite Force.
Bite Force entered into Group D and set about dominating the competition. They dumped Can Opener down the pit, bossed Tombstone, and rolled over the Spider for a tummy tickle. The team finished 4th last season and have their eyes on the title. Their form so far shows they're more than capable of doing it.
From California, Duck.
Duck has been a real surprise package so far. In a group with Robot Rumble legends, they showed no fear. They dumped former runner-up Impulse down the pit with no fuss. They skewered Brenda on their own tracks. And despite losing, they took 2019 champions Fury all the way to the judges. They finished top of their group and look a formidable opponent for anybody. My only worry is they can be a tad helter-skelter at times with their controls.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
I feel quite sorry for both of these teams actually, because they both finished top of their respective groups, but have somehow find themselves fighting each other. That's just the look of the draw, the look of the bracket, and both of these machines are going to go for it now and look for a place in the semi-final against Bronco. Not an easy opponent to face in the semi-finals, as both machines try to outmaneuver each other. A big slam there, both machines caught together. Duck getting into that blade, and the both machines are stuck locked together there. Duck has escaped. Duck sometimes with that control is a little bit all over the place. Bite Force a lot more assured machine. They've got 4-wheel drive on that robot, meaning that they should actually be able to outpush Duck in some respects, as both machines dance around each other. Duck is very manoeuvrable though, and they're in behind Bite Force there, and they could be lifting them out of the arena. Duck holding Bite Force on the edge of doom, and oh, they just could not get them out. As both machines recover now and continue their dance of death, and Duck once again as both machines go perilously close to that pit. Oh, it was so close, but Duck has fought back, and both machines have pushed each other over the edge of the pit. They're dancing round it right now. Bite Force just got the bit more push right now, but both machines really going for it. Great quarterfinals so far. Duck just takes a minute to reassess. They're in behind again, trying to lift up on Bite Force. They do struggle to lift them sometimes, but they've gone underneath again, and they could be lifting Bite Force out of the arena. Oh, so close. They almost got them again. Bite Force live to tell another tale as Duck shunts Bite Force now into the spike. Fantastic move there from Duck, who I would say is definitely on top, but here comes Bite Force on the pushback. Oh, Duck in behind and slamming them into the arena spike. Oh, and in comes Bite Force with a great hit there, as both machines dance from one side of the arena to the other side of the arena. And now Duck has stopped, and Bite Force is ramming into them continuously again and again. Oh, Duck immobilized. No, they're away. They're safe. But that is a great point scoring exercise there from Bite Force. But look at that. The top panel has been cleaved away by Duck. One attack, damage points finally for Duck. That'll do them a world of good if it goes to the judges, and we only have 45 seconds left of this fight, so the likelihood is it will go to the judges. And at this stage, Duck, you have to feel, would be the winner. They're underneath again, but now Bite Force shoving Duck across the arena, and here comes Bite Force again. Both machines, has Duck stopped? No, they're okay. Oh, both machines still battling, still fighting, but Bite Force is shoving Duck near to the pit, and Duck are in the pit. They're in the pit. Duck was surely winning this fight, but they've been shunted into the pit with only a few seconds left, but Bite Force has got in as well. What a fight this has been. Bite Force has turned the fight on its head. Look at that. They were shoving them and they just managed to get a hold of them somehow, Bite Force, and shove Duck into the pit.
Cease.
What a fight.
That was amazing. What a fight.
An amazing comeback from Bite Force sees them move on to the semi-finals, where they will face Bronco in a repeat of last year's semi-final. I cannot wait for that. But now it's time to focus on the other side of the bracket as we move on to Royal Pain 2, taking on Brenda.
From Buckinghamshire, Royal Pain 2.
Last year's runners-up returned to Robot Rumble with a completely new machine and set about showing what they were made of. They quickly immobilised Blacksmith with some fearsome hammer blows, but then their campaign got a little squiffy, as they got very lucky against Bot-Dazzled, and arguably had the rub of the green against Roadblock as well, who broke down of their own volition. Still, their overall record speaks for itself. With the ability to change those axe heads, they have become an incredibly dynamic machine.
From Brentwood, Brenda.
A newcomer who everyone should fear. Brenda had no problem with ripping the guts out of 2019 champions Fury in its group. And then they followed that up by pitting 2019 runner-up Impulse. They've shown no fear so far in the competition, even coming through the deadly runner-up Rumble unscathed. The name Royal Pain will mean nothing to this bot, whose original weakness was that it was untested. I think we can safely say the evidence suggests the tests were a success.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Royal Pain's run to the final last year was a big surprise, so maybe underestimate them at your peril, but Brenda could be the new Royal Pain this year, a machine that comes out of nowhere and gets to the final. They've been very impressive so far, and look at that, the panels of Royal Pain have picked a pickaxe for this fight, the same axe weapon they chose against Roadblock, I believe, in the group. They're hoping to get in to that spinner and stop it from spinning, though right now that doesn't appear to be working, as Brenda uses those tracks to really push the competitor across the arena floor. Both machines locked together here in a deadly embrace. Are either machine moving? Hello, are you stuck together? Ah, they're alive again, and oh, there's a big piece of damage there, caused from Royal Pain, I believe. I think that is Brenda's front wedge that has been cleaved away. Here we go, here's a replay. Wait for that hammer blow, bang off. Yeah, they've ripped it off. And that's the big damage caused to Brenda. We don't see Brenda concede damage too often, and when it does, it tends to lose. What we've seen so far, we've only seen it in 4 fights so far in its Robot Rumble career. It was untested before coming to this series of Robot Rumble. They have proven that they can mix it with the big boys. They've beaten the 2019 champion, the 2019 runner-up, and they could be here about to beat the 2020 runner-up as both machines dance over the edge of the pit. Is Royal Pain okay? I think Royal Pain might have broken down. They're being counted out here. There was a big shock to the system there as it was pushed near the pit. And the 2020 runners-up are out. Oh, and here comes Brenda to cause some real damage and shove Royal Pain down the pit. Oh, they've gone in themselves. Royal Pain 2 becomes the highest seed to fall, the runners-up bowing out in the last 8. Brenda move on and await the winner of our next fight as Diotoir take on Minotaur.
From the Republic of Ireland, Diotoir.
After mechanical failure forced them out a year ago, Diotoir have come back with a vengeance. They've had an electric qualifying campaign, battering experienced machines such as Witch Doctor, Beta, and Minotaur in a decisive fight that saw them finish top of the group. It's a sturdy, strong machine that, as long as they keep the disc running, should have the ability to go far in this competition.
From Brazil, Minotaur.
Minotaur finished third a year ago, but has had to get to this point this year the hard way. Despite beating Beta and Witch Doctor in the group, that defeat to Diotoir saw them have to go through the hell of the runner-up Rumble. They did well though, getting involved, causing damage and immobilising Rotator. It gave the judges enough cause to vote them the winner and set up this repeat match. The question is, how much will the bruising Rumble affect them going forward against a machine that they have lost to in the not too distant past?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So here we go, our second repeat fight of the quarterfinals. Sees a repeat from Group B, Minotaur and Diotoir. Diotoir won comfortably last time as a panel, the top panel of Diotoir. There was a panel there that came off Diotoir. I think an eye came off possibly as well. And then a top panel came off of Minotaur, which they need to bolt down more in the future as Diotoir has stopped. I think they're stuck actually on the lip of that bit of the floor. We really do need to sort it out for the next series as Minotaur comes in on the attack, attacking Diotoir. Both machines were very active in their last fight and they're going to be very active again. A lot more on the line this time. Though there was a lot on the line last time. It was top spot in the group they were fighting for last time. This time it's a spot in the semi-final against Brenda. Who will come out on top here in this very tactical fight? Diotoir's spinner is working. They've had reliability issues in the past. Minotaur, no such issues with its drum. It always seems to run. It always seems to cause damage. It's throwing its own top panel that's lying strewn across the arena floor. This fight could be won in the pushing power, and I think Diotoir has got slightly more pushing power than Minotaur. Other than that early damage, not much else so far. No other big moments. Both machines just trying to jockey, get each other into position, try and get in the position to land that killer blow as Diotoir rear ends Minotaur into the corner. Minotaur stuck in the corner now, but fighting back. You can hear the grinding of the drum. Drum on drum contact. That front wedge of Diotoir is very good though. Although Diotoir, what are you doing? Oh, Diotoir. The look of the Irish was not on your side. They've driven straight into the pit.
Cease.
Way to throw away a fight. Oh, Diotoir, what were you doing? They've thrown away a place in the semi-final, meaning Minotaur will get that date with Brenda in semi-final 2. But first, it's a repeat of the semi-final from last year. It's Bite Force versus Bronco. But before we get cracking, let's take you back to that very memorable Robot Rumble fight. There's just something about Robot Rumble semi-finals. There's always a cracker, and this one was one of the best. A great flip from Bronco against Bite Force. Both machines really going at it tooth and nail. And this moment was one of the moments in Robot Rumble history. You can hear the reaction from us driving at the time. We were not expecting it. Bronco were through to the final. Can Bite Force get revenge this time?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Here we go, a battle for the ages, a place in the grand final up for grabs. A real battle of the titans as they come clash together immediately, and bits and pieces are just flying everywhere. I have no idea who or what they've come off. I think it's come off of both of them. I think there's a wedgelet of Bite Force missing, a wedge of Bronco missing. There's a flip there. Oh, Bite Force goes very near the pit. Last time it was Bite Force ending up out of the arena. A massive moment, and they've flipped now. Bronco have flipped Bite Force, are upside down. They're not as strong upside down. There was an earlier flip. They managed to escape from that one, but this one they've ended up upside down. Bite Force still moving here, still fighting. Bronco want to keep them like that because they're more flippable. Flip them out of the arena. Defending champion is on top here, you would say. A place in the final for them at the moment, as they've almost got them out of the arena and the top panel's gone. That was a massive moment. If they just got under it, it was almost a repeat of the 2020 semi-final there, as both machines continue to fight and clash and battle it out. I would still say Bronco are on top right now. Bite Force with all the work to do. Need to get that spinner into play, get that four-wheel drive, pushing and shoving, and wow, acrobatics. It was the Olympics this year, and a perfect headstand from the gymnast that is now Bite Force. But I don't think you get points in Robot Rumble for that. In fact, it'll be Bronco getting the points if this goes all the way to the judge's decision. But you have to feel that this will probably end in a knockout and all. Bronco, if they were a little bit closer to the arena wall, Bite Force would have gone. Bite Force, of course, were behind against Duck, though, and they turned that around. And could that be the moment that the match turns on its head? The rear panel ripped off of Bronco. Some damage now for the defending champion as they're pushed in against the spike Bite Force. And now Bite Force in behind Bronco, trying to get to that vulnerable rear hand side. Bite Force, all of a sudden, it does feel like the fight has suddenly turned a little bit, because Bite Force is starting to get a little bit more attacks, get round the back. Bite Force now round the side. Oh, misflip there from Bronco. Bronco in the corner here, facing away, but they definitely feel like they're on the defensive right now. But Bite Force is going to shove, and Bronco in the pit. Oh, it's all over.
Cease.
It's all over. I did feel like the fight had turned on its head, and that is the moment. The king is dead. Long live the king. Bronco are out. Bite Force are into the final. What a fight. An absolutely massive moment here on Robot Rumble. Bronco, the defending champion, falls. Bite Force taking that spot in the final. Who will join them? Brenda or Minotaur?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So our second semi-final gets off and underway here. Minotaur have been this far before. They've of course finished third last season. Brenda, brand new, but they don't look like they're suffering from nerves. They've ripped that side panel off of Minotaur. And then they've actually ripped their own panel off. That's how much damage this Brenda machine can cause. That they cause damage not only to them, to the opponents, but to themselves. And Minotaur is going to run head first with that drum spinner straight into the spinner of Brenda. Surely not the most smart thing to do in the world. They've lost another panel. It's gone skittering away there from the Brazilian machine, who look like right now they're in a little bit of trouble. They're going to continue with that strategy, pushing Brenda onto the spike, but they've recovered the tracked machine. So strong so far. They've beaten some of the most biggest teams in Robot Rumble, some of the teams with the most pedigree, but oh, hang on, wait a minute. Has that track locked up? No, they seem to be, well, they don't appear, they seem to be crab walking a little bit. They don't appear to be full maneuver here. It's sort of switched in a moment there. Brenda were on top, and now they're looking a little bit dazzled and dazed and confused, and that spinner isn't moving. I will hasten to add, the spinner on Brenda has stopped, and I would say they've actually slowed down quite a bit. They're down to a crawling pace. They've stopped in the corner.
Getting slower, aren't I?
Oh, Brenda okay. Keep your eyes on Brenda, ladies and gentlemen, as Minotaur continues its assault. Continues to just ram in to the machine from Brentwood. The Brazilians. All the experience. They've gotten this far before, as I've said already. I thought they were in trouble against such a powerful, damaging machine, but right now, they're shoving Brenda really close to that pit, but Brenda is clawing its way back, using the tank tracks, using that extra tread. That is why they've gone for that design. It's the first ever instance of this design we've seen in Robot Rumble, and it's been very successful so far as they've shunted Minotaur all the way back towards the corner patrol zone in that corner. Minotaur has gotten away now though, and Brenda find themselves spinning on the spot. Both machines still going here, and it does look like it's gonna go the distance this semi-final. Both machines flagging at this late stage. Brenda has struggled with the punishment. Of course, these two fought in the runner-up rumble earlier on. And the track there appears to have locked up. Are Brenda okay? They're away now. But they don't look well. It looks like an ailing machine. They're still moving out of their circumference. The judges won't count them out. Both machines now, as we enter the last 20 seconds, looking to gain valuable points that will help them in the eyes of the judges. Minotaur. Just trying to get round to those tracks, aren't they? They are the weakness as Brenda shunts them into the spike and holds them there. And it is going to go to the judges.
Cease.
It's the judges.
So we're going to look at the highlights as the judges make up their mind. Brenda with a fantastic early attack, ripping that panel off, and they actually threw their own off. Such was the damaging speed. There went the other panel from Minotaur. The top panel never went though, but this is where it changed. This slam here broke the weapon and left Brenda limping. There, that tyre locked up. They almost got shoved into the pit. Great fight back from Brenda though. But surely this can only go one way because Brenda were not fully mobile. They were limping towards the end. Minotaur with the slam. They did get points though right at the end. That slam onto the spike will get them points. A unanimous decision from the judges sees Minotaur moving on to the grand final, where they will face Bite Force for the honour to be proclaimed 2021 Grand Champion. But before we do that, Bronco and Brenda are going to re-enter the arena one more time in our third place playoff.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So a small piece of admin as we get this third place playoff off and underway. Brenda haven't had time to fix their spinner. They don't know what's wrong with it, so they're going to go into this fight without a spinner and hope that maybe it starts working. It's not working right now as the two machines clash and Bronco has pulled a panel off and then flipped them up and ripped the other panel off. So the defending champions, well, they're not defending champions anymore, the fallen champions should I say, are looking good to at least get third as the two machines are stuck together there. Brenda pulling Bronco away. You have to think that if Bronco gets the flip, there is no way that Brenda can keep themselves from turning themselves back over if they're turned turtle, as another piece of armour has come off of Bronco. Both these machines fighting for third, but in essence, fighting for pride and for our entertainment. These two machines are an interesting matchup as Bronco goes for a little flick there and Brenda trying to shunt the very long Californian machine. They'll be very wary of side-on attacks now after that semi-final against Bite Force as Brenda shoves them up against the wall, so they'll be getting points there on the board. And the spinner's back alive! The spinner has come back, which is a big moment for Brenda and might help them get third place here. They can really start to cause damage to Bronco, although they're still struggling with drive, it would seem, as Bronco skims across the edge of the pit. But you feel that Bronco now is suddenly on the defensive. They didn't expect Brenda to spin back up to speed. We don't know what ailment had been caused with the fight against Minotaur, as there's a flick there from Bronco. Both machines clash and push, and Brenda escapes, as does Bronco. Gets the flip underneath. Maybe a flip and a shove sort of technique from Bronco would be best, as they go very close to the pit using that rear wedge as a deflection. Both machines clashing here in the middle of the arena, and Bronco's in underneath and shoves Brenda into the pit. The defending champions, well, the fallen champions, I need to stop calling them defending champions now, I'm so used to it. Bronco have been on top for so long. Well, they're finishing third this time,
Cease.
as Brenda ends up in the pit of oblivion.
A proper slam dunk.
So, Broncos salvage some pride and take home the bronze medal. You'll be sure that they won't be content with that and will be back next year to reclaim their gold. Anyway, now is the time for the main event. 37 fights have led us to this moment, and now only two machines stand opposite each other. The Robot Rumble title, the prize for the victor. Before we begin our final battle, let's relive how these machines got here. Bite Force came through Group D. They dispatched Can Opener by putting them into the Pit of Oblivion, then took on Tombstone in a massive fight in that group, but they absolutely destroyed Tombstone and shunted them into the pit there with deflection. They then rolled over Tarantula to claim 9 points out of a possible 9 from the group. They set them up against Duck in the quarterfinals that we saw earlier tonight. They controlled them, levered them into the pit. After they were losing that fight, arguably, they turned it on its head. And the same could be said for this Bronco fight in the semi-final. They were arguably losing, but shunted Bronco into the pit. As for Minotaur, they came through Group B. Beta drove themselves straight into the pit, but Minotaur put a lot of pressure on them. Then came a big win in a statement match against Witch Doctor, 2 rivals. The Brazilians came out on top. They then lost to Diotoir. Here with this moment, not great driving, bit frazzled, so they had to do it the hard way through the runner-up rumble that we saw right at the start of this episode tonight. They did incredibly well, taking lumps and chunks out of people, immobilizing Rotator, and actually winning the rumble, which set them up against Diotoir, who did the work for them, dumped themselves into the pit, but then they had a very bruising, hard fight against Brenda, which went to the judges, but this moment was crucial and gave them the points required to see themselves in this, the grand final of Robot Rumble, Bite Force versus Minotaur. Let's get down to the arena.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
This is it. This is for all the marbles. The 2021 Robot Rumble Championship on the line. And already Minotaur has lost its top panel. That seems to happen a lot, but it doesn't seem to faze them. They lose armor chunks all the time, but they always come back and fight strong. And right now, Bite Force, though, is on top, shunting Minotaur around. Minotaur need to get into the game, but they're being shunted into the arena wall here by Bite Force. Remember, these two faced each other in the 3rd place playoff last year, and it was Minotaur who finished 3rd, and I thought that was a bit of a shock. So this year, Minotaur, you perhaps argue, are the favourites going into this. But right now, Bite Force with a very measured, controlled attack and into the pit. And Bite Force is your champion. Well, they never looked in trouble in this fight. They dominated, and they were just waiting for a moment, and they got that moment. And they shunted Minotaur straight into the pit. No fuss, no muss. Bite Force win the championship fight at a canter.
Cease.
And that's it. Well, there you have it. Bite Force, seed number 4 going into this tournament, comes away as champion. Minotaur improved from 3rd last year to 2nd, so credit to them, but also commiserations to the Brazilian team. But I think we can all agree, the best bot won, and that bot was Bite Force. These are your top 3, Bronco from California, Minotaur from Brazil, and your champion, Bite Force from California. Thank you so much for watching this series of Robot Rumble. We've had a blast making it. If you've enjoyed the series, please give these videos a like and consider subscribing to our channel. We want to make Robot Rumble bigger and better, and only you guys, the fans, can help do that. Keep your eyes peeled on this channel for more Robot Rumble content. Until then, bye bye.